Welcome to our video on submitting tax invoices. In this video, we'll explain what type of tax invoice you should submit for your selling application and what information we look for during our review. Let's get started. For certain products, brands, categories and subcategories, Amazon requires that you obtain approval before listing products for sale by submitting an application through Seller Central. As a part of your selling application, you may be asked to provide a tax invoice for review. So, what's a tax invoice? A tax invoice is a document that records the transaction of goods between a buyer and a supplier. Tax invoices are issued by the supplier and will typically show an itemized list of goods received, the consideration, and the terms of sale. For products that require approval, we ask that you submit a tax invoice or a tax invoice issued by the product manufacturer or by an authorized distributor of the product with the tax invoice reference number, IRN, and QR code if applicable. You may also share an e-way bill along with the tax invoice if the value is over INR 50,000. Since we are looking to see that you have a business relationship with your product supplier, documents such as retail receipts, order confirmations, and order details from online retailers won't be accepted as a valid tax invoice. We also ask that the tax invoice you provide shows a completed transaction, so documents such as sales codes, pro forma tax invoices, or any document issued before the issuance of tax invoice for the final transaction of sale will not be accepted for review. Let's go over the information that the tax invoice you provide must include. The tax invoice you submit must be in the PDF or JPEG file format. Tax invoices in editable formats such as Word or Excel won't be accepted. While you can redact pricing information, make sure no other details are hidden or difficult to read. Tax invoices must be dated within 6 months of the day you submit your selling application. The tax invoice should have your full business name and address on the tax invoice. To avoid any confusion, ensure that your name and address within your selling account matches what's shown on the tax invoice. We require that your supplier's full name and contact information is on the tax invoice, which can include an email address, phone number, or both. In addition, we require the following on your tax invoices: the supplier's and your goods and services taxpayer identification number, GSTIN, and GST breakup if purchased from GST registered seller. And the tax invoice must include your permanent account number, PAN, if applicable per India tax rules. Please keep in mind, we may contact your supplier to validate the information you provide. You'll want to make sure that your tax invoice shows a purchase quantity of at least 10 units of the product you're applying to sell. Make sure your tax invoice includes product identifiers that are easy to understand. Product identifiers can include a model number, product name, or UPC number that can be validated online. If you are unable to match the products on your tax invoice with the products you are applying for, we may ask for a different tax invoice. Please note that you must meet all application requirements to obtain approval. As a best practice, you should review our requirements on the Selling Applications page before you submit your request to ensure that you have the correct documents for approval. During our review, we may reach out to you if we need additional information. That wraps up our training on submitting a tax invoice for products and categories that require approval. Thank you and happy selling!